reaction. I say quick video, but when I say quick video and I start talking, it turns into a long video, don't it?
Always.
But we're on a tiny little bit of a time limit because we're going out to 40. So planning on having a quick zoom up here. We're going to try and pick the rest of the loganberries. So keep saying loganberries. The rest of the tay berries to try and clear the bush so I can cut the canes back, which I might do tomorrow depending on if I'm in a fragile state or not. And then we're going to pick some raspberries. We're going to try and pick the rest of the strawberries as well. So cut the strawberries back and put some feed down. I think we've got some courgettes which are definitely ready to harvest. We've got some tomatoes, which is absolute sign of summer. Look at them, starting to go red, and there's some at the back that are really red. So we've got some stuff coming through there. And then obviously we've got to put some water down because it's going to be like 30 odd degrees this weekend. So we're going to put some water down. Update wise, our sweet peas are all starting to fest. So they're starting to look really pretty, so we'll probably cut some of them as well because you want to keep picking the flowers, otherwise they'll just go to seed and then that'll be the end of them. So pick some of them for a vase. What else? The cornflowers are all starting to flower. What else? The leeks that we left into flower, they're all starting to turn into little white pom-poms, so they look really nice. Our broccoli, which I only saw the other day, I didn't think they'd start coming good yet, but if you have a look, we just start to see that they're just starting to head up. I mean, this is the first time I've grew proper broccoli. I normally just grow purple sprouting for the spring. Can you see that through the net? So yeah, the broccolis have all started to form little heads, which looks nice. We'll make sure we get some water. Yes, it's just a case of picking some of the fruit that's come good. And it'll probably be the end of some of them, hopefully the end of the strawberries, because we're a bit strawberried out, aren't we? You know what I mean? I'd say if we get another kilo today, that'd be like 7.5 kilos worth of strawberries we've had. So putting that into punnets, you know, you get probably 5 punnets to a kilo. So, you know, do the maths on that one. And that's it really. Yeah, like I said, we're going to put some water down. The carrot tubs, I've got to be honest, I was really happy with how the first lot went, where I put a piece of glass on there, but I started those off earlier in the year, so they benefited from having the glass on there and that little bit of warmth and a little bit of moisture retention, and they've done really well. So when I've tried to sow some autumn carrots and I put the glass on, I think I fried them a little bit, because you can see where the ones that have germinated are right up against the side of the bucket where they've obviously been getting a little bit of shade. So this one here, there is some coming through. So in all honesty, there's probably going to be enough come through there by the time they start growing that I won't even need to thin them out, and they should produce some nice chunky carrots. The other ones that I started off down there, there's a few coming up. I'll keep watering them, just, you know, hoping for the best and see what happens. I have made an executive decision as well that I am going to thin some of these trusses out a little bit, because although the thought of these being absolutely dripping with tomatoes, I don't know how much energy the plant's going to need to obviously turn all of those into tomatoes, and I don't want loads of little tiny ones. So I think some of these, I'm going to thin some of these out and thin some of the flowers off, so that you know, I mean, to me, I mean, that's a nice sprig of tomatoes there. So I might leave a few more on than that, but because these ones have already started forming. But I might thin some of these back. So I might. These ones up here that haven't started forming yet, I'm going to cut them back so that there's maybe 10 on a truss. So I'm going to cut 10, cut 10, cut 10. So, yeah. Anybody that grows courgettes knows that like one plant is probably enough for a household, but Jodie said, oh, why not? So we've got 5 plants. So we're going to have courgette for breakfast, dinner and tea for the next, I don't know, 3 months probably. The other thing that's looking quite good is the weeds. I mean, if you look at these weeds I'm growing, they're absolutely beautiful, aren't they? But no, joking aside, the onions are starting to bulb up. We have lost a lot of onions this year to allium leaf miner, and I've tried to pull out all the ones that look a bit meh, but some of the ones that I've planted from sets, which I don't normally do, normally I plant from seed, because I've planted them later, some of them seem to have avoided the leaf miner, so they're all starting to bulb up and they're looking quite nice.
Hello.
So
the new cameraman in town. She puts them there so that you can stand in them and get them all stuck on your shoes.
Put them there because they're dead.
Right. This will probably be the last picking of the strawberries for this year. As you can see, there's quite a few left in there. And then obviously I'll leave the net off so that the birds can get in and do a little bit of bug control. The frog can get in and have a look, see if there's any slugs in there, or the toad. Because I've got a couple of frogs or toads. I can't remember which one's which one's the land living one, but yeah, we've got them. Got quite a few on the plot, so there's still loads of good ones. We're probably going to freeze these though, because we've made jam. We've had plenty of obviously fresh ones, so yeah. Once they're obviously all gone, there's some spring onions in the patch as well, which are obviously getting a little bit swamped out by all the leaves. So once we've done our last pick, I'll cut all the foliage down a little bit so it can rejuvenate. I might pot up a few runners, so I've got some extra plants to gift out next year. And then yeah, hopefully if I cut all the foliage back, it'll let obviously the light get into the spring onions and they can kind of take over them, and then we can harvest them. But we have got a lot of stuff that's in at this present time that is, you know, in the next month or two is going to be, you know, due to come good. So we've got obviously some carrots, some courgettes, there'll be some beans coming through, the broccoli's coming through, the onions will be ready, the shallots will be ready, some beetroots ready, there's going to be some berries and some fruit coming in. So yeah, so I've got some a lot of lettuce and some salad and some more spring onion stuff to plant to try and fill some of the gaps, and then we'll be looking towards planting some stuff for winter then. So isn't she lovely? Oh, pretty.
Yeah, all good.
All good. So he was just saying how that Shoni was just saying, I'm surprised that none of these have been touched by any of the slugs, and now you know why. He's in there having a great time.
Aww.
Probably one of the best best slug defences going. Don't disturb him too much.
Yeah, we'll keep him in there.
Yeah.
He's all the way over there now.
But I did say on that other video I took that they really like it, because I've seen him in the strawberries a couple of times. I think because there's so much foliage, it's nice and dark in there. So they're going a bit over now. Ain't many left now, which is good. Like I said, I'll cut the cane out. I'll pick the 2 best canes off of each plant, tie those back in just like I've done there with the wire, rip all those, take those ones out, put them in the compost, and that's it then. Like I said, I'll feed the soil. But this is only the first year we've been having fruit off of this bush as well, so hopefully next year, like this was only hard. When I planted, obviously the plants, they only had 1 cane off of each plant. Whereas already this year, you can see we've got 1 here that I've pushed up, 1 there that I've pushed up just to keep it off the path. There's another one the other side. There's probably 2 or 3 coming off of each plant. So I'll cut each one. I'll cut the 2, keep the 2 best ones, cut the rest out, train them on. Excuse the dad bod. Trying to blend my t-shirt tanning. So all these, look at the size of these fruits, look, absolute pointless. A lot of these are definitely ready as well, because when you pull them off it leaves the cone, they come off easy. So I think we've got a week or 2 of picking these, and then it'll be the same as the Thai berries. Then I'll cut out the canes that are tied in, pick a couple of strong fresh canes like these. You can see the fresh ones because look how green they are, and then the old canes are like obviously brown and woody. So I'll cut the old canes out, get the fresh canes, tie them into the thing, and then at the end of the year, once they get towards the top of the trellis, I'll top them out as well. So something that you might be interested in is the strain in which these raspberries are, because obviously when you go looking for raspberries in a garden centre or, you know, online even, there's lots and lots of different strains of raspberry plants, and they all, some are bred, they're smaller fruits, but the flavour's meant to be better. This strain is called Tulamine, I think, or Tulamine, and it's quite an aggressive, quite a vigorous strain with big fruits. So it's, if you want yield, then yeah, this has been I've been surprised, to be honest. I mean, I planted last year 5 canes, obviously along this post and wires, and this is the first year we've been picking off of them. And as you can see, there's quite a lot. So when we cut out the canes that are tied into the wires and we put the new ones up, you can already see how many canes are poking up now. I might be getting, where there was 1 cane coming up per plant, I might end up tying in maybe 3 canes. So there'll be technically 3 times as much. And personally, I'm not I hate netting stuff. I think it looks horrible. And I want obviously quite a biodiverse allotment, because obviously if you've got birds coming in that eat the fruit, which is like predominantly like blackbirds, they also eat slugs. So I'd rather grow more and not net and share some of them than grow less, cover them over and want to pick all of them for myself. This is just something like habit that I try and get into. When I'm picking say the raspberries and I come in and I do a pick, obviously once the plants that are fruiting, you need to keep up on top of the water. So what I'll generally do is I'll pick from the bush, I'll take all the fruit that's ready and then I'll water it, because then the stuff that's still coming on is obviously got some water to kickstart it on, and I think that's quite a good habit to get into personally. So, I mean, obviously on your allotment and your plants, you do what you want. So I had a little bit of a spontaneous idea last week when I came up here. I've got some slightly older carrot seeds, which I had some from last year and some were even from the year before. And from experience, older carrot seed doesn't germinate quite as good as fresh. Well, it doesn't. Nothing germinates quite good as a fresh seed. So I thought what I'll do is, I've got an area here of 3 different types. I've put these over the top, obviously, just to keep the moisture in, just to help them germinate. And I've literally broadcast sown, like really thick. If all of these germinate, I've got some serious thinning out to do. So I've got, there we are, they're off. They're germinated, look, see. So that's it, they're germinated now, that can stay on. So see all of these now that have just started to come up. So yeah, big time thinning required, I think. Yeah, those all germinated as well, haven't they? Yeah. So my old seed, which I thought was a little bit duff, is not quite so duff. And that one needs, well, they're starting to come up as well, I think, aren't they? 1 or 2. I'll leave that one back now to see what happens. So yeah, success, I think. So, but the idea of the gravel trays over the top is, like I said, when you water, it just keeps the moisture in, stops the sun evaporating it off. But you do have to check on a regular basis, because obviously as soon as they start sprouting up, if they're covered over in the dark, they'll just go really long and leggy. But what I'm going to do with this bed is I'm going to cover it straight away, so to try and deter carrot root fly on there, because it's just going to be purely carrots from here to here. I'm going to do some hoops that are the same size as what the ones are that go over the strawberries, and I'm going to put some net over and net them from the off, because carrots are kind of my nemesis crop a little bit. I've done it the last 2-3 years, and the success has been a bit, that's hence the reason I'm trying it in a couple of different ways. So watch this space. I've got these purple sprouting broccoli that, in all honesty, they need potting on, but I haven't got the time. They've been in the greenhouse, and to be honest, it's just too hot for them. If they keep drying out and they get a bit stressed, when you do plant them out, they're a lot more inclined to go to seed, rather than, you know, making it through the summer and then being harvestable in the spring next year. So what I've decided to do is, I've got a little spot here where I had a couple of cauliflowers that didn't survive for whatever reason. So I'm going to water these well, and I'm just going to put them there, because obviously if I'm putting them outside, I want them under a net, because I don't want cabbage white butterflies landing on there, start laying eggs, because obviously they'll eat through all the leaves. And equally, there's a lot of pigeons around here, so they want to be covered over under a net outside. I've got a little bit of bed space underneath there, and I'm going to I'll plant a few of them out, so I'll have a few of them there. I wanted to do the raspberries as well and maybe plant some outside, but we'll see. We'll free up some bed space and get them in as soon as possible. Hello. This is the allium leaf miner problem, look. See where they go in and they go down. So So this one here, and they burrow down and they split. So I'm kind of hoping it's just a couple of cloves that it's had. And we can split once these are pretty much dry now. We cut them off, clean them up a little bit, and hopefully we'll just split all the good cloves out. And these are the two here, the big ones that I took out the greenhouse, which I've kept. Look like really big cloves. I'm going to keep for probably next year's, but planting the seed for this year. Yeah.